Greetings and welcome to Caribbean Vanguard. For today's video, we're going to talk about Lorna Chin. This lady has been going after people of African descent, and she's been posting images on her social media. So without further ado, we're going to go right into it because she's on a mission and she seems like she's not going to stop until she's successful. But guess what? We have vanguards who are not gullible, we're not stupid, we're not going to overlook history. We're not going to put our protection, we're not going to put our hope in somebody else's hand. We're going to control that, right? Or our destiny in someone else's hand. So here's the first post. She said, social inferiority of indentured laborers. While both indentured laborers and formerly enslaved peoples were technically free, the Africans had acquired certain legal protections that indentured laborers often did not possess. And this is the same type of stuff that she goes after people of African descent for saying. If they say anything that say they had some type of disadvantage, then she goes after them and tell them that they are being victims. However, she's here trying to convince people though that Asians had a disadvantage. Let's continue. Some freed Africans had access to land upon gaining freedom, while indentured laborers did not. This was often viewed as a perceived social inferiority, as Asians lacked economic autonomy. It was perceived inferior to who, right? And she's downplaying the fact that identity was stolen, culture was ripped away from these people. Therefore, there was a divide with the people of African descent. Up to this day, people are still fighting over an identity, and this has taken away from the efforts to build and grow together. You can see the impacts of slavery to this day in many of the communities throughout the Caribbean. Right? She's overlooking all of that. When she came to the Caribbean, it was a contract. The people signed a contract, they came, they had a job, they came here. Right? You giving people some, not even a lot. You don't know what these people went through to get a little bit of land. And even though it was not a lot of them. Right? So that's the first post. Just craziness. And like I said, this is the same type of stuff that she would go after people of African descent for doing. But she's doing it. It's okay for her to do it. All right, next post. Misery seeks company. And this is a post by someone named Mufash999 who said, victim mentality can't wait for the table to turn upon on a blood clot. Right? And she said, acknowledge your role in shaping your own circumstances instead of seeking company in your situation. Shift your mindset by replacing negative thoughts with positive and empowering belief. Seek solution upon focusing on problem solving rather than dwelling on the problem itself. Take proactive steps toward finding solutions. And you know the thing about it, people? What we got to do when people say things like this is pause, take a step back, and do exactly that. And that is when they get nervous. When they see you say, you're right. We should identify the problem and we should come together to fix it. She don't have the same issue, so she would never understand it. This is something that we have to resolve. And from me looking at the Caribbean, I don't simply look at one country. I look at the Caribbean and us globally. We all face a similar situation. It is the same, almost. Exactly. So we should put our differences aside, at least the vanguards. We're going to always have sellouts in every country. The vanguards have to realize that, identify the problem, and take measures towards fixing it. We don't have to get mad at anyone, complain. We just need to do what we need to do. At the same time, we have to call out people like her, and we have to call out people amongst us who look like us, who are of us, who are really defectors, who are really poisonous to whatever we have going on. Let's go to the next post. Victim mentality. Selena181 says, the Chinese and the Indians were bought over as indentured slaves, low paid, treated poorly, etc. But they were overseers of our ancestors. Now, all this thing about treated unfair and stuff like that, back then, everybody else were living a lot worse than they were doing. They had jobs, they were doing all right, not so bad, and nothing compared to what the enslaved people was going through, as Selena clearly noted. But Ms. Chin posted this: victim mentality is a taste of mind in which individuals perceive themselves as powerless, helpless, or unfairly treated by external circumstances. So she's not addressing what Selena said. She is addressing something that she probably feel like black people need to hear. That you all are acting like victims and acting powerless and so forth. And that's why I said Vanguard's got it. I hear you, Roger. No, we're going to pull together and we're going to get this thing cracking. Let's continue. Chin continued, it can manifest in a variety of ways, including blaming others for our problems. Feeling like a passive observer in our own lives and expecting negative outcomes. All right. Let's continue over here. Again, like I said, that is a good advice. We need to ensure that we're not going to blame you because, like I said, there are many of us who are sellouts. And I noticed that a lot of the people who defend her are people who move away. A lot of Jamaicans who now live abroad and they're in their interracial relationship and stuff like that, and they don't care what happened to the land back home. And I think this lady herself, I think Miss Chen, also either spent a lot of time in Miami or live in Miami as well. And she have her relatives, some of her relatives probably live back in Jamaica. Let's continue with the next post. Persecution complex with a side order of racial profiling. And I guess she's trying to address this person. His name is Askell Terry Henry. And he said, y'all been condoning violence, especially against our people. And this is what Miss Chin posts in response to that. Prosecution complex is when an individual believes they are constantly being targeted, mistreated, and unfairly singled out by others. And that is not what he said, right? And to continue, she said, this belief stems from a heightened sensitivity to perceived slights or injustices. It can lead to defensive and confrontational attitude, making it challenging to engage in constructive communication. Yeah, so when you haven't been through something, it's easy for you to say. Imagine a rape victim or whatever the case is, or children whose parents were victims of rape and they have to grow up with the trauma of that, right? Someone who lives outside would never know. Who feels it knows it. Her identity was not stolen. Her country is doing good. They're owning things all over the world. They're owning half of Jamaica and stuff like that. So she's really not in a position to speak of these type of stuff. But what happened is a lot of people of African descent in Jamaica make her feel like she can say whatever she can say. And they don't realize that in the long run, your children is who are the ones who's going to have to deal with it, because her children is going to continue to grow the confident feeling that they own the country, the land, especially as the businessman continue to purchase more and more of Jamaica and squeeze you out. Next post. Jamaica College. Are you claiming this dunce? Are you claiming this dunce? All right, and so I guess she's asking Jamaica College if they're claiming this dunce. She calling this brother, a black man, dunce, right? Have you guys seen her call any Asian dunce yet? Not one Asian I ever seen her call dunce, right? I guess all Asians are intelligent. Okay, so this brother said, stop spreading lies, okay? You so-called mixed Jamaicans don't make up 5% of my nation. Which school you go? Jamaica College right here, and history was one of the subjects. Pretty words don't equal facts. Just go around the back of the Jamaican bandwagon. And she said, according to my social studies teacher, most Jamaicans are mixed. And she liked to say that. And this is not the first time I heard her say this thing about my social studies teacher, as if we don't know that the school system in the Caribbean does not teach the people about themselves, their identity, in order for us to regain our identity, and to also rebuild, because by regaining that identity, the children will grow more, they would grow more pride in who they are, right? So she basically is saying that most of the people in Jamaica is mixed, which is a big, bold lie. Jamaica is the biggest so-called British colony, and it had the most African slaves out of all of them. So how is it Jamaica with the most Africans is here claiming that most of the people are mixed, but the other Caribbean islands are not doing it? When they have the same buildup, right? They have a mixture of people as well. And sure, people are going to adopt certain things from other culture. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for her to try to downgrade or to belittle or to take away from the people itself is a problem. We know damn well that less than 5% of the people of Jamaica are mixed or Chinese or whatever the case is. Most of the people by far are Africans. And around the world, it's not much different to, like I said, it's not much different to what is happening in other parts of the Caribbean and in the US and different places like that. Okay, continue. This person, the Jamaican Empire, says, that's what I'm saying. Don't understand the highlight of all these other people when our language was uses various African words. Not even one Chinese word is in the vernacular. And Ms. Chin said, when you feel like your black culture is being threatened, so you lash out with racism, low self-esteem. So she's calling it low self-esteem because this lady or this person heard you talking a lot of trash about the culture of Jamaica, so they decide to correct you and check you, and you call that low self-esteem. So they should let you say whatever you want. They should not dare say anything or push back against your ridiculous statements. And the fact that you don't fail to come out and try to tell Jamaicans that, hey, this is not your damn country. And people don't mess with Asians or mess with people of different culture in Jamaica or anywhere else in the Caribbean. People are very nice. The Jamaican people are very nice. But this lady keep putting herself out there. And eventually she's going to get what she's looking for. I don't wish no harm against her, but she needs to stop doing this, right? But then again, I mean, sure, she can keep doing what she's doing, okay? I mean, because it shows her ignorance. It puts her out there, and the vanguards are going to keep calling out. So by all means, keep rocking on. Next post. So she tried to prove to this person now, she says Chinese words in Jamaican vernacular, right? And she's referring to Jamaican Empire when the person said there's no, she asked to give me a Chinese or Syrian word in the Jamaican vernacular. And she could only come up with two right now, I guess. She said chichi man and bamboozled. And if you look up the word chichi, chi in China, it means nothing close to what the Jamaican people use it for in the Caribbean, or chi man, or whatever the case is, right? So, as you know, of course, if you're living amongst people, they're going to adopt certain things, but don't make it like you took all your ideas and sit the people of African descent around the table and say, hey, let me teach you all this and share all of this with you, our culture and everything. No, you did not do that. And that is why the social hierarchy is the way it is today. The same people are in the ghetto right now. So what that someone, even if they picked up a word, are you going to try to take credit? Or that's us, that's what we gave to the culture. Get the heck out of here with that crap. Why is there a Chinatown in Jamaica? Is that what I want? That is what I want to know. And then she used bamboozled. Really? Bamboozled is a Chinese word? This woman is out there. All right. Isn't it like Scottish or something like that? But anyway, continue. The statement is correct. Out of many one people is not referring to Chinese, Syrian, nor any white persons. The slogan is referring to the bad slaves who were forcibly put together on the island. The term out of many one people is referring to Africans from all over Africa who found themselves in Jamaica. Now, I can't fully agree with this one. Now, we know out of many one was a slogan also used in the United States to unite the 13 colonies together. This idea of out of many one was also used, of course, the same people use it in Jamaica in order to make sure that the rich people's property is protected and make the poor people feel like they're all one family. It was a trick, it is a trick, and many people fall for it. Many people fall for it, right? Or fell for it. All right, so here's what Miss Chin said in response to the person. We must always be reminded that this nation is a melting pot of cultures built by people from many different ancestries. It is remarkable what we have been able to achieve by working together, and it is that spirit of unity that we want to engender as we celebrate our independence and look to the future. Ministry of Culture. She posted a statement by Ministry of Culture. All right, whatever. Unity, so forth. Again, goes back to the whole social hierarchy and stuff like that. We know who owned the hotels. We know who owns all those things there. We know who owned the country, and it's not the people of African descent there. The next post, she called this person jackass, and this person probably hit her real hard. That's why she called the person jackass. Let's hear what the person say. East Dem 22 said, there was a time you really think people that stupid happened here, because she keep referring back to social studies when we can simply go out in the community and see. Right? We could turn on the YouTube, we can turn on different videos and see, and we can go there. Right? She said that's why her social studies she learned in social studies class that our motto, out of many one people, also embraces the fact that many Jamaicans are mixed. In fact, most black people in Jamaica are not pure Africans, right? And she's the one she's pushing this sentiment. I know a lot of people want to believe that, but when you look at all these folks in Africa, in Jamaica here, and you look at a bunch of people in Africa, I've been to Liberia and different places like that, you can't really tell the difference. And the same throughout the Caribbean. You can't really tell the difference. It's sick. But you can definitely tell the difference if you take a bunch of these people and take them in China, put a bunch of Chinese there with them. And you can clearly tell mixed people when you see mixed people too. All right. And that is why I'm not a big fan of this whole interracial thing. People can date who they want, but it causes confusion like this. And the people like her is going to use that argument as a weapon so they can continue to make themselves at home and comfortable, right? Our ancestors was not given reparations for all the hard work they have done to this land, right? So all the labor they have done have given us some type of ownership over this land. So why should we want to give that up so wholeheartedly? That is why I am not a fan of putting all our trust in governments, because the government is not for the people of Jamaica or the people of the Caribbean. Next post. So it was okay for French to control it, but not Chinese. Morris Beverly 502 says, them only work for una dirty gal. Come out of my country on our own wharf where all the guns come and used to kill we Jamaican, man, woman, and child. And she responded and said, I did not know one woman could stick so many ignorant statements into such a short sentence. Swipe to learn more about the Kingston Freeport Terminal. She didn't really have a comeback for that, I guess. Morrison Beverly, it's true the man attack Chinese, not like black people. Wait till them take over Jamaica. Use a sellout. And Miss Jim posts this comment saying, fear of dominance can stem from personal insecurities, and individuals may project these insecurities onto others. This projection can manifest as making unjustified accusations of racism as a way to regain a sense of control or superiority. So, regain a sense of control or superiority. So, who currently has that control and superiority? So, she knows somebody. So, the fact that she tried to act as if she's in denial and don't see who control the country should raise a red flag for us. I mean, we can see it, can't we? Right? We know what's up. So this thing about insecurity, you can't tell people who had to deal with a trauma, right? That was passed from generation to generation, that they are insecure when they are seeing what they're seeing. You cannot see what they're seeing because you are coming from a whole different angle, right? You're coming from a whole different place. You don't understand and you just don't get it. Miss Jen. Chinese man explained ethnic Chinese. Mandem says, once again, please read what I wrote. And Mandem said, according to Washington University of St. Louis, race refers to a concept of dividing people into groups on the basis of various sets of physical characteristics and the process of ascribing social meaning to those groups. Isn't that the same as nationality and nationalism? So people try to do things when it's beneficial to them. We were all given a certain sector of this planet, of this world. Why don't you guys say the same thing when it comes to tigers, lions, and all these different animals and say they're all the same? We are not all the same, and it is okay. To continue, ethnicity describes a culture of a people in a given geographical location, including their language, heritage, religion, customs. Clearly, you have misunderstanding of race and ethnicity and so forth. And we are not dumb and we are not stupid. We understand that, yeah, you grow up in a place and other people from different places move in and you guys share the same culture in many sense. But you're not gonna, this thing what many of these folks try to do by dividing the people on one country unto themselves and basically convince those people of African descent that, look, you and those other people of African descent is not the same people, when in the meantime these same people are connected to their country. We don't have an Africa really that we could cling on to, because right now many of their folks and other people are over there causing havoc and doing what they're doing over there. So in the meantime, we need to get it together over here and build a cohesion within ourselves. At the same time, Africa needs to do the same thing. And that way, when it comes down to it, we can all help each other out. But we should not take these people's word for it, because it changes with time. When it no longer serve them, well, they end up changing it, because for years they use it to get an advantage. But now after this whole independence and so forth, they realize, you know what, it's a good strategy for us to push a nationality thing. And that way you can take your people and push them into Jamaica and the different countries and say, hey, we are Jamaicans too. So that way when they continue to strive and do well, you're thinking that Jamaica is doing well, but the local people are still suffering. They're still the workers. They're still not the owners, the real owners. So we need to stop falling for this stuff. Vanguards have to wake up. We need to start doing things for ourselves once again. Continue. Race versus nationality and racism. Here they go with that. Juliet said, you're Chinese. Basically asking the question, you may be born in Jamaica, but you're still Chinese immigrant. It's a fact, right? I don't even see why she even had to respond to that, but she come back and said, race is a social construct. Isn't nationality a social construct as well? She continued, race is a social construct that categorizes people based on physical characteristics such as skin color, facial features, hair, and type. Nationality pertains to governance, citizens' rights, and personalities within a specific geographical location. Man-made, no? So race is man-made, but nationality is not. Racism influences how an individual treats others based on a perceived racial background. What is a nationality? Regardless of a real legal citizenship. So that's what she said race is, but nationality is good, right? It's good because it benefits you. But when it's not about a race thing, it's about a family thing. It's about a family thing, and sure, race, whatever you want to call it too. But what's wrong with it? What's wrong in having pride in who we are? What's wrong with wanting to be able to fend for ourselves just like the Chinese can fend for themselves? Chinese do not need Africans. They do not need Africans. And Europeans do not need Africans. But at this moment, the way things are set up in the Caribbean people need them to function. Well, we kind of believe we really don't. But they control everything at this moment. You know, I don't know if these people consider themselves to really be friends, why don't they want us to be in a position where we can take care of ourselves again? Why do they perceive it as racism when we talk like this? But at the same time, they're telling us we need to take responsibility. They're telling us that we need to come up with problem-solving solutions and not complain and stuff like that. No? Next post. Know your history before you try to tell Jamaicans who we are. So here she is, starting fight, but then she wants to say we Jamaicans. But the people are not talking to Jamaicans, they're talking to you specifically, Lorna Chin, you. So stop being a coward, stop pulling the little slick shit by throwing stones and then try to run behind Afro-Jamaicans who you don't want to associate with being Afro. You try to convince everybody that they're mixed with that kind of evil wickedness, and that is why we should never trust you, never trust people like you, because that is very disrespectful, slick shit that you're doing. And the same thing was reported on many of your ancestors back in the days, trying to be slick, and you haven't changed. Still a snake. So don't throw stones and then talk about we Jamaicans. Don't try to tell we Jamaicans what to do when you're the one that's throwing punches. Right? You're the one throwing out. So what needs to happen is that the Afro-Jamaicans, the ones who are smart, need to step back and be like, look, this is all you. We ain't got nothing to do with this. Because I haven't seen any of these people come after you attacking Jamaica. They coming after you because you're trying to start shit. Nobody even come at you. You just decide to get up out of nowhere and start spreading these lies, try to tell people of Afro descent that basically they have no connection with Africa, basically. You try to separate the people and you try to cause division between the Afro people throughout the Caribbean. And it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. She said, I told him the truth and he doesn't believe it. So Billard said, so I'm supposed to believe this uckery because you say. I think not. She posted something about the Maroons, and this had to do with Maroons apologize for their sordid role in crushing popular anti-slavery uprising and forcibly returning runaway slaves to hellish conditions on the British-owned sugar plantations. And many of the Jamaican Maroons get a lot of credit. A lot of people try to claim being Jamaican Maroons, but we gotta be realistic here. There's some of them later on at all end up signing a contract with the British and were catching slaves who run away and turning them back in. Right? Many of the Maroons in other parts of the Caribbean, like Dominica, St. Vincent, and stuff like that, who a lot of time get overlooked. They did things different. Especially in Dominica, if you run away, it doesn't matter what plantation you ran away from. They adopted you. They take you in and they taught you the mountains, and they won't playing around. Continues. Talk about gentrification versus prosecution complex. Shakedown 007 said, I know what gentrification looks like, and some of you are like an invasive species. You take and choose when you give back. The entire island needs help now. And of course, Ms. Chin posted this. Prosecution complex, a belief held by an individual or group that they are being unfairly targeted or victimized. Gentrification, when an affluent group move into disadvantaged neighborhoods displacing existing residents and changing the area's socio-economic fabric, which is what's happening in the Caribbean and in many cases, and it also happened in places in the Pacific Islands. The gentrification. I'm not sure why she. I guess this is supposed to be her comeback, right? That everything that you people see is happening not only in Jamaica but other parts of the Caribbean, any place where you see African people, is basically you just seeing things, you just seeing things. All right, so let's talk about the glass half full and the glass half empty. So her statement is the glass half full, and the other person is when it's half empty. So Selena said, indentured slavery, low-paid laborer. The Chinese and Indians were brought over to Jamaica to be the overseer of slaves, and were treated poorly, but were paid. Yes, Ops grammar was poor, but let's not act like he's not speaking some truth. Check and know your history, right? So we go back to what she was saying earlier, that some of the free slaves, some of them had access to land, but you were getting money, you were getting paid, so you could have purchased the land too. So Miss Chin, Take Two editor, responded by saying, better translation, they played the culture against each other and created division and chaos in order to manipulate and supply demand. So no, she pushing the victim thing. When somebody else say this, then you being a victim and you being a victim and so forth. None of that things happen. You are perceiving something that did not happen. To continue, she said, but it happened. But happened was opposite. What happened was opposite. We learned to understand each other once we overcame the cultural and language barriers, and what was born was beautiful. Today we call it Jamaica culture, and it is diverse. It's not as diverse as you're trying to make it to sound. Okay, sure, if people living on the same island, of course you're gonna have to interact with each other sometime. But as you can see, in these ghettos and different places, and the people who own these businesses and stuff, they are not the same. It is not as diverse as you make it sound. Okay, you hire some of the locals, of course, in order to keep things at a calm and cool level. However, the fact that she keep trying to pull this thing over is why I don't respect her. Next over here, she said, when you didn't study, so you just make stuff up. She's referring to Anthony Byron, saying he's making stuff up. Anthony Byron said, listen, I'm from the strongest Caribbean island of them all. I'm not sure how he measured that, but okay. Which had all atrocities experimented on us, where the English made document that they sold the rest of the European colony on how to control your slaves. Also, when the Caucasian colonizers left the Caribbean, they left the Chinese and Indians to watch over us, basically do their job for them. Yeah, hear me. And this is true, so I don't know why she's saying he's making stuff up. There are many cases of this where they bring people from, whether it's the Middle East, India, and different places to rule over the local people, or the African people. So all she says that, he's making up stuff, but she couldn't debunk that. Make one jackass brace, she said. Natalie Rose said, for you to choose a donkey parable to parallel the black woman questioning racial socioeconomic disparities in Jamaica echoes a lot of historical baggage from the island that I'm sure you are aware. Of course, if you got to push back against her, it's just like in other places where people all of a sudden are surprised when they get some racial pushback because they disagree with certain people, right? But anyway, Take Two said, Miss Chin said, translation, allow one donkey to bray at a time. Explanation, if someone is speaking foolishly, avoid adding to the confusion. Paranoid delusion disorder, she's referring to this person whose name is Sacred Changes. Sacred Changes said, you are definitely a plant. I'm glad I'm not the only one who only who sees and hear what you're doing. And she's right. She's not the only one. I am proud that I'm seeing some Jamaicans speaking up, because enough haven't been speaking up. Right? I have seen a whole bunch of you, right, support her. Right? But anyway, let's go. Ms. Chin said, paranoid delusional disorder is characterized by unfounded and irrational beliefs that others are plotting against you. No, they don't have to plot. No one is saying no one is. You don't have to plot. You just got to come in and set up shop and do what you do. And naturally, you're going to take care of your own. No, that's what happens. You're going to take care of your own naturally. Right? So until we can see all of these dark rooms and stuff like that, we need to protect ourselves, people. Continue. She said, it is a serious mental health condition. Yes, it was years upon years upon years of trauma. They're going to have some mental condition. Yes. Continue. She says, a serious mental condition that can have a profound negative ramification on various aspects of a person's life. Yes. Individuals with this disorder hold a belief in their own perceptions, even when those beliefs are contrary to all available evidence. Can you blame them sometime? Right? And that's where the vanguards come in. For this article, this image, I don't even know why she used Dave Chappelle, right? These people really see us as a joke. Why you couldn't use an Asian person to do this? But anyway, Ballard8963 said, she's a plant, an agent for PNP and JLP, according agenda and JLP agenda. If you live on the island pretty soon, you'll be talking Chinese and doing what they tell you to do. And Miss Chin is not worried about that. Why would she be worried about that? She'll be good. And so she telling the rest of y'all, don't worry. Why are you worried? I'm not worried. And many of the people just going along with her. But anyway, her response is, when Americans try to explain Jamaican politics to real Jamaicans. This woman, boy. Look, here's my thing. American, whatever. No, he's African, and there are many Africans in Jamaica. So wherever Africans are, he's welcome to speak on it, as long as he's genuine and really trying to understand, and he have some understanding in it. So here you're trying to, the same strategy you try to pull on the racism thing is what you're pulling on the nationalism thing, which is just as dangerous. And you're trying to pull that on him, saying because he's American, he can't speak in issues that are impacting African people. Woman, get out of here with your craziness. All right. Next, Jamaican Proverbs. I told her donkey say world no level. Right? The fuck ever. Natalie Rose said, you're referring to me as a donkey because I'm highlighting injustices. Right? And she said, if you insist on claiming your Jamaican heritage, please learn our parables. Young lady, get out of here with your crap. Learn our parables. Please learn. It's not no hour. Alright, sure, when it comes to the paper and playing the whole politics, sure, Jamaican, yes. But Jamaica is a very brand new country. It's a very new country. Before Jamaica, it was the people. Right? Again, so she's trying to divide the people. She's trying to divide the African people and pull this whole Jamaican thing by saying our with all the other people that's there. Get out of here. This guy talking about opium wars, and basically he's saying that you were never targeted by vulture empires for centuries, and we know that is not necessarily true. There was an opium situation there where they tried to push opium on the Chinese, and the Chinese stand up. So you see, she's defending her China. She ain't tell this person that, hey, why are you even telling me about China? I'm a Jamaican. Right? But when people point that out directly, then she tried to dance around it. She's proud of her culture. She's proud of her culture, and that is why she's not talking this thing about mix and all that. And that is why the people of African descent should not follow her. Should keep an eye on what she's doing. She thinks she plays chess, but she's really not as smart as she thinks she is. Her behavior is pretty obvious. Inferiority complex, and that's what she's talking to this guy, calling him, saying he has inferiority complex. He said this Chinese lady is making a mockery of y'all. In so many words, trying to say you're not smart enough to educate yourself on human health. That the Chinese woman got to teach and give you history lessons on the people of Jamrock, which is very true. She out there trying to teach the people, and the people make her feel so intelligent because so many people go on her Instagram and praise her and really act dunce like they couldn't go and read this stuff themselves. And they don't understand. That's why I say many people don't understand instrumental warfare. Go read it. If you're interested in it, go read in it a little bit. Right? But to have this woman, again, the force that's out there, she do not control the Asian force. She cannot control them. Right? She can be used as a weapon for other people to get on, because it's like this. If your kids grow up see you playing with a tiger, right, they may grow up thinking they can play with a tiger as well, and they may be okay. But their children might get eaten. So we have to be careful, right? But anyway, Miss Chin responded to the guy and said, this psychological phenomenon arises from feelings of inadequacy and self-doubt. Individuals with complex focus of their own perceive flaws and weakness, often viewing themselves as less capable, right? So this is where you got to prove her wrong, by unifying and show that we are fully capable, with or without you. Next slide. Dumb and Dumber is what she referring to these folks right here. Melanin Sister said, you're the hateful, miserable racist that obsessed with posting about black people only, and I don't get why she keep doing that. Post about your Chinese people. Post about your Chinese Jamaican, and leave all people out of it. But she just can't stop. She has a point to prove, right? But Melanin Sister continues saying, using an accent to make it seem like you're on black Jamaican side, when you really don't like black people. People better pay attention. I seen it where she tried to push this patois so hard. She tried to push it so hard. I'm sure when she go to work, she don't talk like that, or even close to it, or maybe even on a regular basis. But she get on Instagram and really try hard to push it, right? I don't get on here and try to speak more island than anything. I speak the way I speak. I've lived on so many different Caribbean islands. I had the opportunity to, but I also had the privilege of growing up in a steady childhood, with childhood friends and stuff like that. Right? But I'm not gonna just decide to, hey, I'm gonna speak real raw because sure, when you get around your cousins and everybody else, sometimes things naturally comes out. But this lady just tries so hard. All right. But anyway, she responded to the person and said, projecting is a psychological defense mechanism that distorts our perception of reality. It involves displacing our own feelings, thoughts, tendencies, fears, and insecurities onto others as ways to protect ourselves. What is she protecting herself from? She's saying what she saw, what she observed. You the one that keep putting yourself out there. No one coming and looking for you, Miss Chin. You are the one keep pushing yourself out there, talking about people of African descent. And so, other people of African descent, their brothers and sisters around the world, speak up on it. Tyrone Wellington says, the Jamaican government, an idiot. When was the last time on a pay tax? Campty. Let's all pack up and go to China and see if we can say we are black Chinese or black Asian. Yeah, and I guess she tried to say that they are black Asians. Yeah, but come on now, here's the thing again, and here she trying to play us like we're silly again. the impact, the power that Chinese have in Jamaica and in the Caribbean. Tell me what Caribbean people have that type of impact in China or Europe or anything like that. Right? This lady is trying to act like she ain't know what we're talking about. And that's why you say you can't trust her. Last post on this. The first stone and only Marriott Green said, did Bill Gates and crew do experiment there too? In China, I guess, because you know what they're doing down there in Africa and all this type of stuff. And of course not, because the Chinese people pull together and they really look at themselves as a people. You can't go there and infiltrate their thing the way they can come to the Caribbean and other places like this woman is doing and infiltrate your thing like that. Right? So she responded and said, someone asked me what I would do if I were the wealthiest person on earth. I told them, and I think maybe this is a Bill Gates statement, I told them I'd try to help humanity and the poor, and then I sat and watched how the people turned on Bill Gates. Right? So she's letting you know that there's no poor people. China don't really have the poor people like that. Okay, so at least that's how I kind of take what she getting there. Next one, she says, you are the entertainment. She's talking to East Dem 22, who says, and you think you're a Barbie. So what you have? Go mind your picnic, scrolling through people's comment, wanting attention. And Miss Chin says, don't be rude to the fans. If I'm entertaining your backward opinions, you are entertainment. Do you really think I sit here talking to F-U-C-K-I-N-G dunce basically for no reason? Right? So if your thoughts do not align with Miss Chin, then you are dunce, you are backwards, the cup is half empty, you are delusional. Miss Chin is perfect. She is perfect and she has it all put together. And people of African descent, you are delusional. You are delusional. And Miss Chin have it together. Okay, but anyway, that's all I have for now. Until next time, be blessed.